Standby light cues 2 through 33, sound 1A through 7. On deck, standby Q actors. Electrics, kill the blue run lights, please. Light cue 2 and sound 1A. Go.
From Arizona Theater Company, this is Hang in Focus with your host, Sean Daniels.
As someone that grew up in Arizona, it's a great way for us to share the work that we do worldwide.
And featuring co-host Chanel Bragg.
That is our responsibility, is to reflect what is going on in the world.
Streaming live from the State Theater of Arizona.
Let's do it. Let's really use this moment to re-envision our...
Welcome to Hang in Focus Live with Sean Daniels.
This is the new Arizona Theater Company. I'm just glad that you're here.
On today's show, Sean sits down for a conversation with ATC's own Development Events Manager, Stacey J. Cavaliere, and artistic producer, Eddie Diaz.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the show. Thank you all so much for tuning in. I am Sean Daniels. I'm the Kasser Family Artistic Director. Thank you all so much for being a part of it today. I want to say one thing before we get to the guests, which I am thrilled about. So, as you know, we are coming back, and we are coming back in the fall. And we have announced our season. We announced it last month. Now, normally we announce in February, and it takes about 6 months to get everything ready, to get everyone seated, to get all of the subscriptions sold. We are doing everything we used to do in 6 to 7 months, currently in 2 months, right? We announced the season. We're doing a flurry of activity. So I would say if you are calling the box office to be able to get your subscription or you're emailing, know that we are getting it and we will get back to you. We are luckily, God praise, we are slammed. And so that is great. And so just know that if we don't get back to you right away, we will get back to you. Everything is being stored, cataloged. We are holding people's seats. It's just everything is taking a little bit longer because like everybody, 6 months ago, we didn't know what we were doing, but we do know now and we're moving forward. So we have a tremendous box office staff. They are charming and specific. And so they will get back to you with that information. But if it takes a day or two, don't worry about it. If it takes a week, don't worry about it. We will get back to you. We're going to get back to everybody. We're going to get everybody in. So thank you all for that. I'm thrilled for today's chat because one of the things we really want to do is make sure that our audience and our community gets to know the people that work here, right? That is really the community of Arizona Theater Company. It is not me. It is not just Jerry Wright. It is not people that don't work here anymore. It is the full staff that really makes this happen on a day-to-day basis. And we are a team in ways that I think this organization perhaps has not been in the past, that we really want to think about ways that we can empower each other and how to uplift the amazing people that we have working here. So we really wanted to use today to get you to know two of the people that have been our more recent hires, but I think have really changed who we are. It's also the end of Pride Month, and so we really wanted to make sure that we salute all of our staff members that celebrate in many, many different ways. And so these two are very special to us, and you'll learn about why. So I want to go ahead and bring out first Stacey J. Cavaliere, who is our Development Events Manager. Hello, how are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you, Sean, for having me today.
So if you haven't met Stacey J yet, he has been such a strong addition to our development team. This past year and a half, right, we have not been able to sell tickets, right? We have really depended on our fantastic development team to figure out how they can continue to can engage with our audience and be able to raise money at the same time, right? That is the thing. That is the difference between us folding like other theaters and coming back. Now, we are in currently the best financial position that we have been in the past 10 years. And that is due to a lot of people and a lot of tough sacrifices that have been made. But a lot of that is due to our development department, which has really just kicked ass left and right. And I know even last week I was at 2 different events, which is amazing to go to 2 events in 1 week, one with the mayor of Phoenix, one with the mayor of Scottsdale, right? So that we're really succeeding in different ways than we haven't before. So I just want everyone to get to know you a little bit better, Stacey J. So first of all, what does a development events manager do? Oh, actually, let's start bigger. What does a development team do? Who are these people? What is going on with them? And then let's talk about what you do.
Yeah, so our development team at ATC is very small, but very mighty. There are 4 of us, led by our amazing Chief Development Officer, Paula Taylor, who you see here on the Giving Corner most every week. She has been just such a great leader and mentor since I have started, and it's just a privilege to work with her every day. She works her butt off and is enjoying a much-deserved vacation right now. So I hope you're enjoying yourself, Paula. And then we have Carly Elizabeth Preston, who has been with the company for a very long time and also has really good ties as a teen to ATC as a former Summer on Stage student, but she is our director of annual fund and stewardship and works so hard with the whole department and has that rich history knowing and being involved with ATC for so long. And then Gretchen Pace works very hard writing and submitting all of our grants. So that is the development team. We do a lot. We work with all departments probably almost every day, which is, I think, unique for our positions because we do get to work with pretty much most everyone in the company on a weekly basis.
So I love that you went through each person, you gave them a shout out, right? You really lifted them up. That's really great. And people know Carly Preston, right? Because she used to be the co-host of this. And then she got too fancy, which sometimes happens, right? That people are like, I can't be with you every Friday. I got things to do. And so we love that. So what does a development events manager do, right? What is that?
Yeah, so when people hear of development, they think of fundraising. And yes, that is the majority of what we do. But we also are stewards. We're stewards to the community. We're stewards to our patrons, our donors, our students, our thought partners in the community, our board of trustees. We're really, just out there letting people know who ATC is, what we're all about, and bringing them into the fold, however that is meaningful to them. It doesn't always have to be money. It can be volunteering. That could mean sharing a Facebook post. That could mean telling their neighbor about us. So I really think of development as stewards to the community and to the art that we produce. My specific role as development events manager encompasses being the point person for our events like our annual gala, which is coming up March 12th, 2022, save the date. And also our opening night dinners, any other type of donor-related or community-focused event. And then the other kind of side of it is more behind the scenes, assisting the rest of the development team in bringing in those much-needed funds.
So, but on a day-to-day basis, what do you do?
Yeah.
Is it ever the same?
It's never the same. It's never the same. Connecting with donors, connecting with corporate partners, connecting with our marketing team. I'm also the marketing liaison between our very, very extremely talented marketing team and our development team. So I kind of am the go-between, working with those fellow staff members on collateral, like the stuff you see behind me, these wonderful banners that were created, to our sponsorship forms and whatnot. So no day is the same, which is why I love coming in every day.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think I always think theater jobs are great for any ADHD people because we never do the same thing twice, right? It is always moving on to the next event. So let me ask you this. I think there's a bad rap that donors get or people that raise money get in regional theaters, right? Everybody talks about oh, that's the price you have to pay to be able to do the work that you do, which I don't feel that way. I love that people are so invested in us and we are so invested in the community that people want to help to make sure that happens. What's your experience, in just working with our donors on a day-to-day basis? Because I find them to be more engaged here than any other place I've been.
Yeah, that is a great question. When I started back in October, right in the middle, the height of it all, right? We were all, working from home. There was nothing going on besides, all of our digital things. But I was really fortunate to be hired at that time because we had just kicked off our Bring Us Back to Live campaign, which was a huge undertaking within all departments, but specifically development. And we really reached out to every supporter, every donor that we could, in many ways. And so I kind of got thrust into being able to meet a lot of our donors and our long-time supporters, and help bring new people into the fold as well. And so that really was a great experience, just seeing how much this community really does love and care for ATC. Once again, we're stewards to the community, and our donors, our board of trustees, they are our thought partners. We listen to you all that are watching out there, and we really take your thoughts and considerations to heart. So that's what I really love about engaging with our donors.
So you were in charge of our Pride event that we just did at Wonder Spaces, which, if people have never been, is, I'm going to go on record as saying, the greatest thing that ever appears in a food court at any mall across our country. Like, the fact that it's there in the Scottsdale Mall, in Fashion Square, in the food court, and it's an art gallery that we, like, my family goes to every time there's a new exhibit, right? So we've been there 3 times, going even during COVID there. I think we have a little slideshow of just some of the pictures from the Pride event so people can see some of the work that you did. Do you mind just narrating us a little bit through what we're seeing?
Yeah, so this is the fabulous Jerry Wright, our managing director, with Andrea Evans from Front Door Medias. There is myself and Mayor David Ortega from the city of Scottsdale. He spoke at the event. It was just so nice having him there. Lovely photo of you and Chanel. Wonder Spaces is I would call it an interactive art exhibition, right? Sean mentioned in the food court at Fashion Square. We were so fortunate to have been invited to participate in this Pride Month event that Scottsdale Fashion Square graciously hosted for us. Our partners on that event were Phoenix Pride, who does such great work in the community, not only throwing the Pride Festival annually, but they also have a scholarship and a grant program too that a lot of folks don't know about. So make sure you check them out and support them, particularly this fall when the Pride Festival comes back. Those are some of our friends from Pride on the screen right now. But we also had a lot of raffle prizes donated from lots of mall retailers in the mall. Several of our Board of Trustees members were there. Tito's Handmade Vodka was our sponsor for the bar, and we got proceeds from that. So it wasn't specifically a development and fundraising event. The purpose was really to show ATC's commitment to diversity and inclusion and access and equality. We really take that seriously here at ATC and are continuing to work and do better as well. And I think folks will really see that shine through in our 54th season.
I feel like development people are so brave because they start naming all the sponsors, and I was like, are they going to do it? Are they going to get them all in? Are they going to say them all? And then you get them all in. That's really great. So who is Stacey J though? Before you came to us and had all this success and really kind of helped us to take it to the next level, what were you doing beforehand?
Sure. So my career mostly has been in human services. I've worked in nonprofits for a very long time. I started out as a high school special education instructor. Did that for several years. I love working with young people and young adults. And then that led me to a job working with LGBTQIA youth and young adults. I did that for about 7 years here in Phoenix and around the state, actually. And that really opened my eyes to a lot of different areas of the nonprofit sector, development, marketing, working, alongside the people that we serve. And then right before I joined ATC, I was working with the re-entry population, so specifically folks coming out of incarceration that needed assistance with substance abuse treatment, housing, workforce development, and whatnot. So and then the pandemic happened. Life changed courses for myself, and I was thrilled to be joining the ATC team. It kind of, in my role as the development events manager, really all of the things I learned in those other positions really kind of culminate into what I do.
Do you miss, though, being like in the thick of social services and helping people on a daily basis, or do you feel like you're able to do that now?
I feel like I am definitely able to do that now, just in a different way. It doesn't manifest physically how I would. I mean, I was going out to housing facilities, working directly alongside folks who needed assistance. But I feel like post-pandemic, we all need a little bit of joy and art and human connection. So that is how I parlay that need within myself to help others, is through the work that we all do at ATC, because I think we're all ready to experience that joy in the theater with our fellow theater goers and our theater lovers, and I can't wait to be back in the theater with everyone.
I don't mean to like pimp out your personal life, but I was so moved by when we were doing one of our table work events, and we for people that don't know, table work is an event that we do for our donors where we really try to work them through the process of how theater gets made, and we introduce them to world-class artists who want to specifically work with our donors to help them to better understand how theater gets made. And so we were working with Karen Zacharias, and her prompt was that we had to go into a room and we all had to tell something about a piece of clothing that we were wearing. And everybody like rolled their eyes as deeply as they can that we were going to have a writing prompt. The chat was not happy with her. And then we went in and everybody loved it, right? They really found out, of course, things about each other they didn't know. And you shared something really beautiful. I didn't know if you'd mind sharing, that really gave me a bit of an insight into who you are.
Yeah, sure. At that day, I happened to be wearing breast cancer awareness socks. My mother is a survivor of breast cancer. And so it was just kind of, I don't want to say coincidental because nothing is really, but it was good timing. So I was thrilled to share that she's healthy and thriving, and is one of my best friends and supports everything I do. Going all the way back to, when I was a kid in theater and choir, so I appreciate all of her and my family's support in everything I do, including my role here.
Yeah, no, I thought it was really, I mean, the rest of us had to follow that, which was tough, but it was really beautiful, a really beautiful moment to be able to let us know that you think about her on a daily basis and that you just happen to be wearing them that day. So we're going to come out of this, right? What do you imagine Arizona Theater Company looks like? And, is it more events like this community pride event, or how do you picture us in the future, especially from your end?
Based on my experience so far since October, I see us thriving. I see us getting out there in the community more with different types of events and different types of community engagement. But I also really look forward to experiencing firsthand as an ATC employee now the long-held traditions that ATC has. We've been around, for 54 seasons now, and so there is a long-standing community love for this organization. So I'm excited to see how the two are going to meld into a fantastic season, and to just bring more people in. I want everyone to know about us. So.
I know whenever anybody says you're the best kept secret, I'm always like, that's not a compliment, but thank you. Yeah. Thank you for saying that. Yeah. And then what do you think the future holds for Stacey J?
Well, hopefully a long time tenure with ATC. I see so much potential out of this organization, even into the next 54 years. Won't be with them that long, of course, but I do see a really bright and great future for us. I'm really looking forward to seeing how our education department expands in the years to come, how our development team will expand in the years to come, of course. And, just really looking forward to seeing the amazing art that we produce on stage, in person, being a part of the team.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
So we ask every guest to leave us with a word. Carly Preston wants you to stay forever. So you may have to do another 54. I mean, you may actually be here. We'll play this tape at your, 55th anniversary of being with us. Yeah. Which I believe would make you like 62 years old, but that's great. So we have a word that we ask each guest to be able to leave us with. It becomes the name of the episode, and just really like a word of like where they are right now at this moment. So do you want to share a word with us?
Yeah, just reflecting on this month and the past 10 months, I think, that I've been here. My word I chose is pride. I really have pride for who I am as an individual, and being privileged enough to be able to live my own truth every day of my life, but also pride to represent Arizona Theater Company. People ask what I do all the time. Where are you at now? Who do you work for now? Now that the world, is opening up and I get to see people in person again. So I just love the pride that I get from just talking about us and what we do and all the great people I get to work with every day. And I'm extremely proud of when I leave the office every day. I am proud of what I've done.
That's wonderful. Oh, yeah. Well, and I got to tell you, I don't know if you know the word on the street, but the word on the street inside our building is that everybody loves to work with you, that everybody's excited, that everybody is like upping their fashion game slightly, because now with you and Paula, it really feels like a bunch of schlubs. But really, like, everyone just feels like, as part of the new ATC, right, which is joyful, even with a high level of rigor that we put into what we do. And you bring that, you inspire everybody to be able to do better. So we are grateful to work with you.
Thanks, Sean. I appreciate that.
All right, Stacey J. Cavaliere, who is our development events manager. Thank you so much for joining us on the show.
Bye, everyone. Thank you so much, Sean.
Oh, if only we all had backdrops as good as that. All right, I want to bring out next Eddie Diaz, who is our new artistic producer, who is someone that I'm thrilled about all of our new hires, but one that is really close to my heart because I get to work with him on a daily basis. So let's go ahead and bring Eddie out to the show. How are you, my friend?
I'm doing well. How are you, Sean?
Good. So, people, so Eddie, this is your end of your third day with us?
Yeah, third day going, like everyone's been telling me, I have been hitting the ground running. So here we are.
Yeah, and you know what? I even told Becky today. So we had a meeting this morning with the Justice team, right? The writer, the book writer, the lyricist, and the director. And when I got off the phone with Becky, I was like, man, Eddie Diaz, he fakes it great. Like you seemed like so smooth and so together and so helpful. You never would have known that you are not, that you're on day 3, right? It just felt like you were supporting the artists. You were helping them to figure out a way and getting them to go forward. So good work. 3 days in. Good work so far.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I do, actually, because I guess me coming on board, I really thought about it like, what does an artistic producer do? And my experiences in the art has been, working with producers who care about the projects and really being the facilitator of making sure that dream, that vision, that passion, that comes to life. And sometimes that looks like doing the administrative work. Sometimes it looks like being the liaison between logistics, and sometimes just making sure that people feel welcomed, feel seen, and feel heard, and that they're also being respected. And of course, that's something that I plan to do and hope to be able to do when all my interactions with anyone who comes through our doors at ATC, or anyone who we meet at in their community, or even my colleagues. So something I hope to do.
I know. See, this is, I like your technique. You're always like, don't ask me what an artistic producer does. And then you sneak in, you're like, oh, by the way, I have a brilliant answer.
I thought I would beat you to the punch.
Yeah, I know, right? That makes it seem Yeah. Well, and so your position is a new one, right? That we haven't had before. And I think, part of the impulse was Arizona Theater Company has always done 6 plays, right? And we've always had an education department, but we can't help ourselves at this moment from being ambitious, right? And we want to have a new works program. We want to have shows that travel the world. We want to have shows that go to New York and go to Ohio and go to London, the big 3. And so we were like, we need some support. We need somebody who can be front facing in the community to help to make all those things happen, right? Because at any given moment now, we're going to have some different 30 to 40 shows that are in development, all the way from just a good idea to we open, right, October 1st. And so there has to be somebody who can steward all those projects, you're right, make those people feel as though they're supported, make them feel as though like they have a home with us, make them feel like that they're able to do the work that they want to do. And also, you will head up, right, our community engagement programs and our artistic engagement programs, because you have a deep history already, right, in Tucson and around the state of working with the community. So can you share a little bit about that?
Sure. So a majority of my career has been focused in the nonprofit sector, but more on like human services. So for the last 13 years, I've been working at various nonprofits around, centered in Tucson, Arizona, but we have served a lot of individuals in like Cochise County, even up in Greenlee County, in Ajo. We have supported a lot of individuals on staying connected to resources and services that reflect their community. A huge going into, working alongside these communities has always looked like addressing health disparities that a lot of people face nowadays. And that's historically, they've been facing health disparities. But we want to definitely make sure that access to services, that we limit those barriers, and we're always going to communities. So I've been working with organizations that aim to support communities, and a majority of my work has been supporting LGBTQ plus survivors of domestic violence, people living with HIV, people who are using substances. All the work that I have done has been focused on a harm reduction model. And harm reduction is a really beautiful thing. It's definitely a model that a lot of social work agencies are adopting moving forward, because we know it's evidence-based, and we know that it allows room for people to show up as they are. And that's something that I really, really believe in, because I feel that people just showing up as they are is always valid, always needed, and there's always a gift in that. Because when people show up as they are, we're truly accepting them on who they are at that very moment. And I think when we're able to do that, we're able to build rapport, we're able to establish trust, we're able to we're able to kind of build off of a framework that they're already able to sustain. Because if they're here at my front door being like, this is the best I can do right now, I'm going to say, good, that's awesome, that's more than enough. Like, what's the next best step? And let's celebrate all those little successes. So that's kind of what my whole implementation work has looked like. Of course, I can give you like the long version, but that's kind of like the snapshot of what those implementation and really community engagement has looked like with my history in the community.
So I love all of that. I think that makes, a lot of sense when we're talking about people that are attempting to get off of substances. What does that same theory look like when we're inviting the community into the theater, right? How do those same principles get put in place when we're trying to be, a community center in a different way?
That's a good question. I think at first, so let me just backtrack, because this is making me think about when people at my previous organization were like, "Oh, you're going to go do something totally different," and I mean, I just smiled. I was like, "Yeah," but like inside, I knew that like it's not actually different. I like myself, like me, like many artists, including myself, like you find refuge, you find inspiration, you find valor in theater, you find all these really great things. Because theater, I fully believe with like every part of my being that theater has the power to make people feel seen and validated, which is why representation matters. And telling stories and owning stories really is a powerful thing. Because once we own our truth and own our stories, sometimes when they're rooted in like really dark things, they don't really have the power to control us anymore. And we're able to find kind of that freedom in that. And the way I see it is all those skills that I have learned and obtained in community and been able to practice with successes and failures. Like, let's be real, I'm not perfect at everything I do. I've been able to take that and say, well, when we're looking at terms as a arts organization, what is missing here? And what's missing is a respected statewide theater, but how do we look to it and say, that is my community, that is my backyard, and that is my space. And this theater has been on this land, and there's been people on this land far before myself, my ancestors, people who've been here before me, but it's still mine and it's rooted in my backyard. And I should be able to look to this place as a place to show up on where I'm at. And I really think that really has transformative power. So I'm really excited to be able to stretch that out and really expanding ATC for people in the community to see it as when a place where they want to be and want to go and think, hey, that space does belong to me and I'm able to create there. I belong there as much as any other artist or as any other person who has walked here before me or after me. So
everyone can see why we hired Eddie like right away, right after hearing him speak.
I have to apologize when I talk about this. I get very like excited and like sometimes my friends say I get a little tyrant like sometimes. So I've noticed that I have to like hold back sometimes, but yeah.
Well, but I think but I think actually to be in an artistic department, right? Like we have to believe so much in what we do, right? That we continue to push on and on. I saw this interview with Barack Obama and they asked him, I think I told you this, they said like, what's the most important thing you need to be president? And he said, you have to wake up every morning and love America. And I was like, that is the most bullshit answer I've ever heard. Like, and then you become artistic director of a theater during a pandemic and you're like, oh, no, he's correct. Like you have to wake up every morning and really, really believe that this is worthwhile and that your community deserves and needs and would be bettered by having this type of place. I read this quote by Terrence McNally that I steal all the time, where he says, theater is a forum for people's thoughts and feelings by which a society decides to change or to heal. And so it's like, oh yeah, that idea that we create a place where people's minds can be changed, where people's feelings can be changed, where we can see each other. That doesn't happen on Netflix. That doesn't happen on my phone. That only happens in person because you have to risk a lot more to be in person.
Oh yeah, and no doubt, if you ask most people in the art, like if you ask them like, why are you so interested in theater? Like what started that for you? There's no doubt in my mind that every single person is going to talk about one moment where they were given the opportunity to have a meaningful experience in theater and how that literally changed their life.
Right.
Literally. Because I could go back to the time where I was introduced to theater. I grew up in Los Angeles. I went to a Title I school, primarily Latinx, Filipino population, as well as Black, Indigenous individuals. And we had like an arts educator come in. I was in like first grade. And I remember clearly, they were like, we're going to read this play. And it's a fairy tale that came from a different country. And you're going to learn a few of their words and what they do. And we're going to perform it. And we were like, kind of like, what does this mean? So we read this book and we turned it into a little 10-minute play. And I cannot tell you how excited me and all my classmates were, because we were all, not white. We were in ESL classes. English was not our first language, but we had someone come into our community to show us that this could be our reality. And from that moment on, I didn't really grasp that I was doing theater at the time, but I knew that it's what I wanted to be part of. I wanted to be part of something bigger than myself. And then I think that's what's really the beauty of theater, right? Whether you see it on a proscenium theater with a beautiful arch and all the lights and the everything, the whole 9 yards, or whether you see it in a black box experience, a more intimate setting, or whether you see a performance that's based out in the community, you're really kind of seeing like that spark come alive and what it actually means to be human, kind of like tying back to what you're speaking. And I think some of the most honest moments that I've ever experienced on stage or seen have been on stage. And to me, it's like, well, you really dig in to find what makes us human, and that honest, like beautiful vulnerability of it all. It really kind of comes full circle. And I think that's why I really appreciate the art. And here I go just blabbing on because you like said something and then I was like, oh wait, and I get really excited and
Yeah, no, it's great. So I do want to touch about this because we talk about this a lot, but I'm always, want to give everyone a moment to talk about it. We talk about the importance of representation on stage, and we talk about what does it mean to be welcomed into a space and to see yourself on stage. And I often talk about, I did a show by Idris Goodwin at my last theater, and I had an old woman write me a letter, upset, and she said, like, I hope you understand how much it hurts when I come to the theater and I'm not represented on stage. And I'm always remember this woman because she was able to identify exactly what the feeling is, but she was unable to understand that the rest of the world also feels that way when they come to show after show and they don't see themselves represented on stage. So, can you just talk a little bit about the power of representation and what it means, for you, and specifically also what does it mean for Tucson as we continue to figure out how do we reflect Tucson better?
absolutely. So growing up, English was not my first language. I remember I learned a little bit by watching it on movies or hearing like my mom and dad speak it because they had to speak it predominantly at work. And then coming home, I was always around my grandmother who just spoke Spanish. And then going to school, I was always in English second language classes. So there was not a lot of opportunities for us in like mainstream media, to see Spanish speaking people, have conversations in Spanish, or like people showing traditions and cultures that really reflected what my home life was like or what my experiences were like. The only time I was ever to see that reflected was if I changed to like Univision channel, which is like cool, I have that channel. But when we're talking about mainstream media and where we live, where the majority of the people around me are brown or indigenous or black or Filipino or whatever it may be, and we're not represented, it can be very suffocating and very isolated. And when we're talking about identities that are made to feel erased or like they don't matter, that can kind of like not feel great. And when we look at all the media and all the things we consume on a daily basis, it always, white has kind of just turned to the default of it. And that's historically speaking, that's what it's been. White has been the default. So now, fast forwarding what I've learned, where I've been, where I am, and where I hope to go, serving at ATC, and definitely how the Tucson community, it's important for representation. In my experiences, there should be no reason or issue as to why a play that talks about Latinx folks, Latinx cultures, should be hard to cast in Arizona. We have an array of actors who are of color, who can tell these stories and really help find that connection on what it means to be human. There's no reason why it should be an issue. And there should be no reason why, if we're doing, I don't know, Mary Poppins, the musical, why Mary Poppins shouldn't be brown or black or indigenous. There's actually no reason why that is. Like why it's just the default as being white. And I think at this point, ATC and me joining the artistic team, we really have the opportunity to understand that white doesn't always mean right, and white doesn't have to be the default in that. There's hundreds of stories that have been here before us and have been here and that will be here after us. And if we are performing and creating art on land, stolen land, we should be able to pay tribute to our ancestors and understand that we have stories and we've been here before and we'll be here long after. So representation always matters. It can definitely change someone's life. It definitely has for me. So.
Can you, along those lines, just talk about the response that you got from people when you announced that you were coming with us, which I just think is so sweet and beautiful?
Yeah. So I remember when you had offered me the position, I was like, oh, that I was really, really excited. And I said, cool. Oh yeah, I'll take it, whatever. And then my idea was I was just gonna accept the position and I was gonna just coast by, show up, do my little job, put my little thing away, go home, whatever. And then I remember you had said that, no, this is a big thing. This is good. And I was like, yeah, okay. And then a few weeks passed, and then you were like, we're going to put an announcement in, no sé qué, blah, blah, blah. And I said, okay. So then I had deactivated my Facebook because I just needed to chill for a second. And then I woke up one morning and I get a notification that I was tagged in something. And I was like, oh, I think this is what it is. And I got a really beautiful, overwhelming response from about 300 plus members in the Tucson community who were really excited for me. And it was really beautiful to see that. It was a lot of my colleagues that I have worked in for years. They expressed that they were excited to see my successes, and they were really excited for me. And, whenever someone's taking on a different role, whether it be in any kind of capacity, you're always like, well, what could go wrong? What if this goes wrong? What if that goes wrong? And that's normal. And I really was like, well, you know what? I'm going to chill for a second. All these people are really giving me their heart and their support and their love, and they want me to do well, and I'm going to do the best I can. So I was really, really overwhelmed, and I kind of still am, even though I've only been working for 3 days. I'm overwhelmed. I'm excited. I'm happy, and my partner has been very supportive. So it's been nice. He made me Rice Krispie treats on my first evening. So,
Yeah.
And then I see Laura Jo McMillan saying that she's happy for me and she's proud of me. I went to college with Laura, and we studied theater together. So thank you, Laura. Very sweet.
So we only have a couple minutes left, but what's next for, right? So Arizona Theater Company has made the smart move to hire you. What's next for Arizona Theater Company and for you? What's your hope of what the next 54 years is? Stacey J is apparently going to work here forever, so that we got that going for us. But
so that's awesome.
So they're set. But how what happens for the rest of us coming up?
I don't know. I think I wish I had a good answer for that, but I think I'll go with an honest answer. I like Stacey J. Stacey had mentioned that, he doesn't believe that things are coincidental. And I don't either. I think that things happen if for this bigger picture and this bigger thing, right? I really hope that someday I'll be able to provide meaningful opportunities that have been presented to me. I know that your history, Sean, someone did that to you. And you had expressed when you had hired Chanel back that you were hoping to give those experiences to her. And in a way, I hope to give that back to someone, someone who's brown, someone who's Black, who's Indigenous, someone who, like me, has had so much kindness and support from people in the community. I don't have a formal college education. I have never been privileged enough to be able to finish that because life happened and I had to make some tough choices. But I was always presented with people who believed in me. And as like corny and like hallmarky as that sound, it really does matter. You know, someone believed in me, and I hope to return that favor and show as many people as I can that I believe in them just as they are, and like be like, hey, you know what? You're as good as you're ever going to be now and always. Like, take that shit and go with it, because that's always like enough, right? It really is. So,
all right. Do you have a word to leave us with? So we could talk to you for like another 3 hours, but you know, do you have a word to leave us with?
Yes. So seeing as it's Pride Month, but also being like a brown queer kid who sometimes, you know, going in predominantly spaces that haven't been welcoming to people that look like me, who act like me or don't act like me. I think a word that comes to mind is aquí, so to be here. I think it's a beautiful thing. So I'm very grateful for that. I'm grateful. Yeah. So.
I have to add you, somehow when you got hired, I got put on this text thread, and shout outs to them, with Christopher Pena, Melissa Crespo, and Jesse Sanchez, who were all and then they added me, and they were all like, this is amazing. We're the Latinx mafia. This is amazing. And I was just like, guys, Eddie is not on this thread. But they were just so excited themselves to be that you were with us, that they really felt like that it was a big moment for the industry, for the theater, for Arizona, you know, for them as Latinx artists to feel like that they had a producer that they felt excited to work with. And so I just feel like I love the amount of excitement and energy that has already been coming towards you, of people that you've never met who want to support you.
Yeah, I've never met them. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I know. That's why I was just like, let me give you his phone number, but don't text me how happy you are. I'm happy too. Like, let him know. So
it's very sweet. Thank you. I appreciate that, Sean.
I'll capture some screenshots and send it to you so you can see all the love that's been erupting for you.
Thank you. And yeah, I'm so excited to serve Arizona and create meaningful opportunities for people that, you know, look like me and don't look like me. You know, someone did that to me, so I hope to pay that back.
That's wonderful. Thank you, Eddie. We will see you many, many times. But really a top-notch first week, right? Came in on Wednesday, nailed it on Friday. Yeah, good work on week one.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
So Stacey J and Eddie, two of our fantastic staff members that we are thrilled to get to share with you so that you can get to know a little bit more the people that make Arizona Theater Company work. That's it for this episode. Thank you all so much. We will see you next week when our friend Chanel Bragg will be back from her vacation in Mexico. I'm sure there'll be pictures. She's sending me videos already, and we'll share those with you. That is it so much. Then let's send you off to the call board. Thank you so much, everybody. Talk to you later.
Your call board for June 25th to July 1st, 2021. Hi, I'm Assistant Digital Producer Alex Hollis, and thank you so much for joining us today, where Sean sat down with Stacey J. Cavaliere and Eddie Diaz. Stay tuned next week at 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time for another exciting guest on Hang in Focus Live with Sean Daniels. Now it's time to find out what's happening at theaters around Arizona. All right, this week let's head down to Tucson. U of A School of Art is bringing us 2020 FMA Thesis Alumni Exhibition. This will play through July 11th. This event is available to view online or in person. You can check out more at galleries.art.arizona.edu. Tucson Botanical Gardens is bringing us I'll Follow the Sun, featuring the photographs of Shelley Lawrence Kirkwood that will play through September 6th. You can learn more at tucsonbotanical.org. Now let's head up to Phoenix. Southwest Shakespeare Company is bringing us Resurrecting the Renaissance Part 1. This online-only event plays through June 26. You can learn more at swshakespeare.org. Virtual Theater Lab is bringing us The Manic Monologues that premieres live on June 27th at 3 p.m. You can learn more at facebook.com/virtual theater lab. And if you enjoyed today's conversation, please tell a friend, pass it along, like us on Facebook and Instagram, subscribe to us on YouTube, ring that bell so you can be notified when we air live and to see our latest content. Have a great weekend, everyone, and we look forward to seeing you next